Today on the podcast, we're talking weddings, pop-up events, and just say I do. This is the Kansas City Podcast. Welcome to the Kansas City Podcast. I'm your host, Cole Lindberg. Many of you know me from my radical hip style, and if not, it's nice to meet you. You know, each week here on the Kansas City Podcast, we are joined by one-of-a-kind KC native for a conversation on life in the city of fountains, and I'm very happy. I'm in a really cool spot today. They're not sponsoring the show or anything like that, but I'll still go ahead and say it. We're here at Louis' Wine Dive in Overland Park off 119th. You know, and it's kind of quiet and eerie. There's not a lot of people in here, and there's like people drinking wine. No, I'm just kidding. It's bright and early, and so we appreciate them letting us use the spot. But today I'm here with, I'm excited about this because it's a concept and a thing that I am excited to learn more about. I'm here with Kate Morris. Hi, Kate.
Hi.
And she is the event director for Just Say I Do KC, which specializes in intimate pop-up weddings and vow renewals. This sounds to me like the craziest thing in the world. So, Kate, welcome to the show. Welcome to the Kansas City Podcast. I'm very happy to have you here. I know you are a very busy person, especially because you've got like a regular job and then you've got like a wedding thing that you're working on, this Just Say I Do. So let's start at like the bare bones here. So why don't you explain to me what an intimate pop-up wedding is? That's because I mean, we're going to talk more about my wedding here very shortly, but I want to hear what the concept is for Just Say I Do KC.
All right, so what we do is we work with different wedding pros all over the Kansas City area. So all the vendors, people that you would normally work with for your flowers, the venue, your catering, all of that. So we work with them, and then we pop up at different venues around Kansas City.
Okay, all right, that's the basics. So, So you pop up at different venues around Kansas City. So, all right, so let's just say I came to you and I said, hey, I want Just Say I Do to do my wedding. Is that how it would work? Like, you're basically overseeing everything?
Yeah, so what we do is we actually do all the planning, and we put on these pop-up events, and then multiple couples get married in the day. So there's 3.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's all planned for you, and all you do is have to show up. Of course, you have to book and everything, but you show up, and you get a 3-hour time slot.
Okay, so you get a 3-hour time slot. So there's 3 different weddings per day.
Per day. So there's an earlier one from 12 to 3, and then we have our evening from 4 to 7, and then we have the late night from 8 to 11.
Okay. All right. I'm starting to get it now. Okay, so here's my next question. Does that include, so the 3-hour time frame, does that include like ceremony and, you know, like does that include everything?
It's everything.
What?
Yep.
No way.
Yeah. So what it is so couples, we try to pick venues that also have suites so the couples can do their final touches.
Yeah.
And the photographer that we work with then captures those moments.
You even got the photographer?
It includes everything. It's the photographer, the food, invitations, the whole shebang. So, and the reason that's how the concept was developed, because by doing multiple weddings in a day, we're sharing, or we're like passing those savings on to the couples.
Right.
So.
Okay. So I get a 3-hour time slot. I could come in, I'm trying to go through this in my mind. I could come in, get ready, tell everyone to be there at like a certain time, do the quick ceremony, do the toast. It would be fully catered because that's all part of the package.
Correct.
What?
So it's a 3-hour full wedding ceremony reception, and it comes with all the bells and whistles that a typical wedding that you would think of would come with.
And I just have to make sure we're out by 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock because you guys have to clean it for an hour, basically.
We have 1 hour to flip, which we're pros at that, so it's no big deal.
Okay. So where did this start? I've never heard of anything like this before. This is crazy.
Pop-up is becoming more, it's trending. So there's different companies all over the U.S. and even in Australia and other countries. So, but it varies. So usually there's small like Airstream or some kind of more of a traveling one.
Okay.
And the weddings tend to be more on the 10 to 20 person guests, so we've broadened it a little bit and opened it up to 30 guests.
Okay.
And then we're doing it a little unique to where you actually get the sought after venues. So we've kind of taken our own spin on the pop-up wedding. That way we can give you more of the traditional feel.
And there are some crazy, awesome venues in Kansas City.
That's the best part about Kansas City.
Like, there are some awesomely cool venues. Like, when I got married, so that was last March in 2017, so a little over a year ago. And we looked at a whole bunch of different places, and we got married at 2016 Maine.
Oh, it's wonderful.
I love that place. Pat, there's like the coolest dude in the entire world. They were super like helpful in making it all come together. And we didn't go crazy. Like we were on a very short time frame because we were like, hey, in Kansas City, if I get married between, November to March, it's going to cost so much less than if I get married in April. Like like as soon as that last week of March ends, then like April, the price goes up crazy.
Right.
So we were looking at all these places and we thought that was a really nice place. The price was reasonable and stuff, and we picked like the last weekend in March, you know, so it was like still a really good time and everything. So I know about like these venues and stuff. So you're actually like going to, it's not like you just have like a warehouse that you're opening up.
Right. No, so we work with those sought after venues, that people who are doing kind of the traditional planning route with looking at the venues and starting to pick which vendors they would work with. Those are the same vendors and venues that we're working with. So that way, again, so for the intimate wedding, so how many people did you have at your wedding?
So we had 160 something, 150.
So you had still a pretty big wedding.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, and there are lots of venues that some of them can have smaller micro weddings, intimate weddings, things like that. But the options for couples who want 50 people or less is a little harder to find because say you found your dream venue, but you know that you're going to have a small wedding, you might not be willing to put $3,000, $4,000 down just into the venue.
Right.
So that's kind of how the concept was born, was so that way you can get those more expensive venues for your smaller guest list.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So you can still use the nice venue even though you have a smaller amount of people because you're sharing the cost with everyone else.
Right. But it's easy because it's just one payment to just say I do. So you're not having to actually pay the different vendors or the venues, or there's no communication with other couples. We've put together the whole thing. So it's almost, I hate to say it like this, but we're kind of the new courthouse alternative. Yeah. So rather than going to the courthouse or something like that, you can come to one of our pop-ups and book that.
Yeah, because I assume that's because that was the one thing that we got into was like, okay, we know we want food, but we don't want like a dinner. We want just like some appetizers and stuff people can enjoy. We know we had to have a bar, so luckily 2016 we had a great bar, so like, and they helped us out huge on costs and stuff to be able to get like, an open bar for everybody. Photographer was a bunch of money.
Yep.
Luckily I had a friend do the DJing. I had a friend do the officiant. I had a friend do the flowers,
That's
so
great.
we did all this crazy planning in this very short amount of time because we were like, hey, we got engaged in November. We don't want to wait until next November for the price to come down again. We can power through this, get a venue, get all this stuff and ready to go in March. But I remember, we went and tasted the food and, we went and viewed and stuff like that. And part of me, as I was going through, I was sitting there a couple times just going I don't really care about the flowers. I don't really care about the food as long as it tastes good. As long as it doesn't kill anybody, I'm fine. So if people in my situation, I bet you there's plenty of people out there that don't want to do all the extra rigmarole. There are some people that love that stuff.
Right.
They full on, but
they're not for just say I do pop-ups.
They're not. But so do you think that is that kind of the trend going forward, that people are really hey, it's a do it, or not a do it at all, but you're doing it all for them basically.
Right.
Hey, we come in and we're good to go.
Right. There's typically two types of couples. The ones who want to do it themselves, who want all the control, want to pick out every detail. And then there's the couples who are just I don't have the time.
Yeah.
And they don't want to put in the effort. And maybe they also don't want to spend the extra expense of the wedding planner, because that is an added expense to have somebody basically do what we're doing.
Right.
But on a more catered level to exactly what they would want. So you kind of have your two styles of couples. And this concept kind of bridges that a little bit, because people can have, if they really want a particular color, in their bouquet, or
Yeah.
whatever. Like, they can tailor those, or we can help them get those little aspects of it.
Okay.
But we're really for the people who are like, hey, yeah, we just want to show up. We want to get married. I mean, this could be short engagements. It could be long engagements that they're fed up and they're like, forget this. Instead of, running off to Vegas, we have this option now or something like that. So.
Okay, so your launch is like 2 weeks away.
It is June 9th.
June 9th. Where's the lucky place? What's it going to be?
So it's 8th and Main.
Okay.
Yep, it's in Grandview, Missouri. It's a beautiful event space. It's it does kind of tailor to intimate weddings slightly. Like, it's a smaller venue, but it has different areas in it. So it has this beautiful vault. So it was a bank that's been transformed, which is so cool to me. I just am like, oh my gosh, because whenever you see it, there's this gold vault. You open it, and then there's one of the suites. So the bridal suite's actually inside the vault.
Nice.
It's really cool. And they have this nice, gorgeous reception room with a other couple's suite, or like a groom's, room off of there. And they have this beautiful courtyard with a fire pit and everything. So it kind of, you get a lot, I kind of put it together because it could appeal to different styles. So we kept kind of a classic look of gold and white, but then you have your outside. So for those folks who wanted something outside and maybe sit by the fire, whatever, you have that. And then you have your classic gold vault if you want that as the backdrop for your ceremony.
Very nice.
Yeah, it's a beautiful place. So we're super excited about that.
And so you got 3 weddings to go.
Yep.
3 weddings. What? It's a set price, right?
It is. So, it's just under $5,000, and it is everything.
Everything.
Man. Yeah. So, you do have to, I don't provide the clothes or the rings. So you do have to make sure you have that in line and make sure you have your marriage license. But then it's all good to go after that.
Do you see this being something that we're going to see like more and more of?
Absolutely. So it's trending that people are wanting to put less time into the planning process.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Just because of the cost, or just
I feel
because
like
of the
lifestyle nowadays, people like what's convenient.
Yeah.
And so with everyone with busy lives, there's a lot of couples now that are living together longer before they get married. Sometimes they have families, and so they don't want to take the time to plan. It's kind of sad, but my son, I have a 12-year-old son.
Yeah.
And then I have a 16-year-old as well. But my 12-year-old had said, whenever I asked him about how he felt about me planning my wedding, he said it was sad.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, why? And he goes, well, because it took up all your time. And I was like, yeah, you're right. It was like a 2-year-long process of changing decisions, And he was like, yeah, it was kind of sad. I missed you. I'm like, oh, that's horrible.
I remember when we were planning, and it was like as soon as we got 2016 Maine, we went crazy because we did our own invites as well.
Yeah.
I created the invite, and we didn't even mail them. We emailed them.
Oh, that's great.
We emailed them, and we sent them through Facebook. That's all we did. And then we had multiple reminders set up to keep telling people, hey, make sure to RSVP, make sure to RSVP. And we were so blown away because all these people around us, I love my parents half to death, but my dad was standing there just kind of there's nothing wrong with a little bit of tradition, stuff like that. Wanting the invite, and I'm just no, we can do this. We can figure this out. This is going to be our wedding. It's just going to be us. We're not going to do some crazy bridal party. We got a fantastic photographer, that was crazy expensive to get a nice photographer. The food was fantastic. I think about it now because we had a giant Excel spreadsheet, with all the names and all names and then all the costs and how it broke down and where we had paid the deposit. So I'm thinking that part of me is kind of would I rather have spent a little under $5,000 and had 30 of my best friends, or gone all out on a crazy 150 person wedding, which is what we did. But part of me is kind of what? I think that's a really, it's much more intimate, and it's it probably feels a little more special too, because you're walking into a place that's ready to go.
Yeah. So, and it's kind of funny because I have the opposite story because we started with the 200-person wedding.
Right.
So I'm Italian.
Okay.
So if you know anything about
it's a big Italian wedding.
It's a big Italian wedding. So I grew up always thinking I was going to have the big Italian wedding, dancing all night, the big hotel, ballroom, whatever.
Yeah.
And so, and then as we decided we got engaged, we decided to actually get married. Now, we were already together, raising our kids together, living together, and cost-wise, I was like, well, we're never going to be able to afford the huge, giant Italian wedding that everybody's used to.
Right.
I don't want to put my family, my parents, into having to go into debt basically to help pay for our wedding.
Right.
And we really wanted to take a honeymoon. Like we knew where our priorities were. We needed to make it official, and we wanted to put our money towards our honeymoon because we hadn't taken a vacation in a long time.
We did a GoFundMe for our honeymoon.
Oh, that's fantastic.
That's what, instead of doing like a registry or everything, we told everyone that, hey, if you want to get us a gift, go to our GoFundMe, and that's going to pay for flights to Europe, and that's where we went on our honeymoon. And it was amazing.
Great.
So like we got all these cards with cash in them and everything, and then other people used to GoFundMe. We hit our goal, and it was like, damn, we just got our flight paid to go to freaking Europe. That's freaking amazing. Has anyone? Okay, so here's the thing in my mind that like, has anyone come to you yet and said, well, I like how you guys do it, but I want this, and this. Like I feel like there's still some people out there that are going to be like, well, I understand you're setting it all up.
Right, but
can you have you run into that yet?
There's always going to be that but.
Yeah, especially at a wedding.
Yeah, so and we always will do our best. If it's something that we can do, we will.
Yeah.
So we've offered, like, if someone's like, okay, I know you say you can only have 30, but I really need 35. Uncle Joe and Aunt Sarah, they have to come. There's no way around it. My parents are going to disown me if I don't invite them. Then okay, we can figure that out. It's obviously going to be an additional charge. We have to make up for that. But we're able to do those things. Or if somebody's like, okay, hey, I really need this particular flower. I really, really want this flower, this color. I'm going to have my sisters standing up beside me, and they're, we need bouquets for them. Yeah. There's those little things that we can do.
What about like the ceremony? Because some people have like, oh, I don't want to say vows, or I want to say this. Yeah. Is it like do you have like a choose your own adventure sheet?
It kind of is like that, yes. So my sister's actually the officiant. She's who married me.
Okay.
So she's fantastic, and she also can put those little touches that a couple might want to make it special, because we do want to make them feel like it still is their wedding. You know what I mean? Because it is their wedding.
Absolutely.
So we want them to be able to put those little touches that they want. But when it comes down to it, it's still, in order to make the concept work and for it all to go, there's certain things that just can't happen.
Like, you're not going to be able to, we're not going to be able to do like a full mass.
Right, yeah, unfortunately, that's not going to happen.
We're not going to be able to, have your father come up and give a 30-minute speech or something like that. Like, you got to get moving. Like, things got to be moving.
Yeah.
Man.
So
is 3 hours enough time?
It is. So also if a couple's like, hey, there are people who have to get married in a church, and that's what they need. I'm like, okay, that's fine. You can do that, and then 3 hours can be for your reception. Okay. So we have those options as well.
Okay.
Some people are really pumped. They might be like ready to go, so they don't need the extra time getting ready.
Yeah.
As far as they don't care to have the pictures of them in their dress in a bridal suite or something like that.
Yeah.
So we can, get rid of that aspect and then tack on an extra 15, 20, 30 minutes towards the ceremony or reception or whatever they
Can they bring their own photographer?
So they can, but it doesn't change the cost.
Okay.
So, yeah, they can use their own officiant, photographer, they can bring their own flowers, whatever it is that they want in that regard, except for certain decor.
Okay.
But the price remains the same. It's the way that, in order to make it work, it has to happen like that.
Yeah. So what's your pipe dream with this? Like, you doing a wedding a night? Like, what, or like, what,
so
like, what do you think?
It started with, okay, we'll just do one every couple of months.
Okay.
And then we're like, okay, no, like, we really think that this is going to be something that is a service. We created this so that way we can provide this service to couples who it will work really well for.
Yeah.
So ideally now moving forward, we're going to try to be doing them every month, year round. That way for those couples who do want to get married in December or have a very particular season or, date in mind or whatever. So it is going to be hopefully a year round, whole year.
Whole year, okay.
And so because we can even do multiple events on the same day.
Yeah.
I mean, because really you're kind of repeating a lot of the same styles and themes just at different venues. Sometimes you're working with the same venue more than once. So we have a couple pop-ups planned at 8th and Main where our launch is at. And so we just need different event coordinators to be there to take care of everything. So really, the options, it's going to be great.
I mean, it sounds great. Like, it sounds like one of those things. Like, I think the only thing that I would have to come to terms with is like the amount of guests.
Right.
Just because I want everyone there.
Right.
Like I think that's where my hang up would be on it, just because it is like, would it ever expand, you think, to larger, you think?
Yeah, and so that hopefully that we'll be able to do that. We, again, like right now we can probably go as high as 40 or 50, but it would be the additional charges per person, basically.
Right.
We do have room to grow, and we can also do eventually, hopefully, some longer time slots as well. Maybe we're doing 2 in a day for those couples who really need extra time. So our options, the good part about it is the options are wide. We work with different vendors. The vendors kind of get to put their spin on things, which is fun for them.
Yeah.
Because rather than having somebody
come in and taste test and like,
and all that,
I want
right.
to change this.
So we're giving the people we work with, the wedding pros out there, creative freedom that they might not always have. Like,
is the food, so when it comes to the food, does the couple get a choice of like certain appetite, or is it the same for every single one of them?
So it depends on the event.
Okay.
So this first one coming up, the chef here from Louis, he actually designed the menu.
Okay.
And it's going to be that set menu throughout the day.
Okay.
Then we have one coming up at Alexander Major's barn, and it's Ashen Blue is the caterer for that. And if you haven't looked her, or if you don't know anything about her, please look her up. It's fantastic.
Okay.
She has this camper. She's it's like a old camper that she's turned into a food truck.
Oh, wow.
And it's so cool. So, and she's kind of called the traveling cheese shop. So she does gourmet grilled cheeses and mac and cheese.
Oh no, really?
So yeah. So with that one, the couples can choose which one of the signature like sandwiches they want.
Yeah.
And then the other two will be the other choices that the other couples picked. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the menu stays the same, but sometimes they can have their choice as to what they want to serve. Does that make sense?
No, that
Kind of?
makes total sense. Yeah, because I mean, that's really the thing that like I think most about, like where, like what along the way, if I've decided to go forward with this, like what along the way am I going to get a choice or not a choice on, basically. Right. Like, there's certain stuff that I don't care about. Flowers, great. I don't care. You pick whatever color you want. I mean, as long, whatever. Mm-hmm. Music, I gotta, I want to make sure the music sounds good. So I may like
ask what the playlist
DJ.
is.
Yeah, ask what the playlist is. But like food, thinking about like, if I had a choice between like a pizza or meatballs, or something like, right. I'm trying to just think in my mind like, okay, where are the choices that like, I know everything's going to be done for me, but where's the stuff that I could do to make it a little bit more unique than one of the other one of the other 3 weddings that's there that day? And I know that's probably going to come from like vows and ceremony and things like that, but also too, I mean, I'm thinking to myself, what would I want to like, because really that's where we got caught up. It was like the minutia of like, okay, how do you plan out your ceremony? Do we go with this type of sauce, like what color, no, not even the flower color. It was like, what are you going to put in the middle of the tables?
Right, the centerpieces.
The centerpieces,
like
thank
right,
you.
All the
yes.
decor.
And like, that's all the little stuff where part of me is just like, I don't care.
Right.
But
well, so, and again, we try to work with couples for the ones who do have particular things in mind.
Yeah.
But again, this is kind of the cool part about it is if you leave it up to the pros, you just kind of know it's going to be done right.
Right.
Right? Like that's what they do. So putting it into their hands is kind of something that I guess is more for the brave soul out there, I guess, or for those who don't care about, all the little details. But that's kind of the way we're doing it, is so that way, again, because they know they've done it. Like these are people, rather than, even whenever I planned my own wedding, I could think I know everything about it, but someone who's doing flowers around the year and has done 18 million weddings in their life, they're going to know it better than I am. They're going to have the recommendations. They're going to know what's going to look good. They're going to know what's trending, so they're going to be able to innovate better than what someone who might not be in it every day is going to do. So kind of turning that over to them isn't always a bad idea.
Yeah. What's your craziest wedding story?
Craziest wedding story?
Yeah. You got any crazy wedding stuff?
Well, I'll just say that planning my wedding was crazy.
How so?
Okay, so it really was a two year long process.
I see. Now that in itself is crazy to me, because I could not have done 2 years.
Well, and yeah, I kind of lost my mind because it changed. So
like
again,
your son's?
Yeah, it was very sad. It was very, very sad. No, so we went from that 200-person wedding to, okay, we really don't want to. I said, I don't want to be introducing you to people you've never met.
Right.
It's like, so really, let's think about it. And no offense to my family or anybody out there, but who is in our life every day? Who knows us? Who knows where we're working right now?
Yeah.
Like that kind of thing. And we just thought about it more. We were like, okay, we just want to make it official. This is like special to us.
Yeah.
So whenever we decided to, narrow it down, but then it's still, narrowing it down to immediate family sometimes is still 100 people, And so once we got it down and decided we were going to do it small, then we had to decide, okay, where we're going to do it. We're like, okay, we're going to just run off to Herman. And then, someone be like, well, are we going to take a train or what's happening?
Right.
But then I have to take off of work for 3 days. And, so then there's that aspect of it. And then, me and my mom going, trying to, okay, well, how's so-and-so going to react to this? And this and that. And just, it would have made for great television, to be honest. Because if you have traditional people in your life, trying to get them to not understand, but for lack of a better word, to almost come on board what your vision is for your big day is usually difficult.
Yeah.
And that's why you hear horror stories of brides and moms and people fighting and then so-and-so not coming to the wedding. It all, in my eyes, stems from the planning process.
Yeah. See, we were super planned out and everything. Everything went out without a hitch. It was a perfect day. There was only one thing that happened. It was starting to get a little, it was one of those things where, okay, so we got married in 2016 Maine. The deal is that I was supposed to be there around 4 o'clock. Okay. And my parents were nice enough for the night after the wedding, they got us a hotel room at the Westin, at the Crown Center.
Oh, I love the Westin.
Okay, so the deal is that I was going to go to the Westin first before I meet them to do pictures and stuff, because we were doing pictures for the ceremony. So I drive to the Westin. I get there around 3:30 or so and everything. I go up to the counter because the deal was I was going to change at the Westin. Our car was going to be there, so that way the next morning we'd be able to leave from there. And then my brother was going to come pick me up and take me to 2016 Maine. So I was basically going to take our stuff up to the room. All right. Go in, go up to the counter. Our room is not ready.
Oh, no.
And so I'm basically saying, wait, what's the deal? And what was going on is that was the weekend that the men's basketball, to go to the Final Four, KU was playing at Sprint Center. So the Westin was full of everybody in Jayhawk outfits and everything like that. So I kind of look at the lady and I go, okay, I was told, this was supposed to be a special room set up and everything because it was the corner room, with the window and stuff.
Yeah,
And she says, well, I'm sorry, that's not available yet, but I can get you a different room in the other side. I was like, no. So my mom was the one who, got the room for us. And so I call my mom. I'm like, hey, Mom, don't freak out. It's okay. They said it should be ready soon, She was like, you gotta be she freaked out. She's on the phone with the hotel manager not even 10 minutes later. So I'm watching time. I'm looking at my phone, looking at the time. I'm like, oh crap, I've got to be ready for picture. I've got to get to 2016 Maine to take pictures. I'm looking at the people at the counter. There's this huge line of people coming in and stuff because they're going to go into the game to that night. So I made an executive decision. I went and I changed in the bathroom, the lobby bathroom of the Westin. I put on my suit, I put on my tie, my shoes, everything. While I'm changing, I get a call from the hotel manager saying, where are you? And I said, well, I'm in your lobby bathroom. And he says, he pauses for a second, is this guy pulling my leg or not? I'm like, no, I'm in your lobby bathroom. I'm changing right now. I have things I got to do. So he's like, okay, well, we have the room ready now, so come back up to the counter. So I get done changing. I'm all ready to go. I come back to the counter. The line is 10 people deep. And I'm just like, you've got to be kidding me. And all these people are standing there because here I am holding a suit bag, all my clothes, all this stuff, all in my hands. I'm dressed up super nice. And all these people are looking at me. And the lady goes, are you in a hurry? And I said, well, I'm about to miss my wedding photos. So she let me go in front of her. And then there was an express line off to the side, right? And some guy just decided to jump through the express line. And luckily the lady behind the counter said, no, he's next. They give me the key. I'm only like 20 minutes late or whatever. But
Only
that was
20
the
minutes.
only thing that went bad that day.
That's great.
And I'm very thankful for it too, but also at the same time, since it was me and I was so easygoing anyway, I was
Right.
kind of like, look, I get it. You know, we got our nice room and stuff. I changed in your bathroom. You may need to clean the toilets. You know, it's not the cleanest bathroom in the world, but I mean, I just think how much if I could just go to a place and just show up and get married. That's
Right.
what excites me about this concept, because you're still gonna have little stuff like that, like what I just
Right.
talked about, but knowing that it's all covered and taken care of is pretty sweet.
Yeah. So again, it's for those people who do just want exactly what
Yeah.
you described. So it's a good alternative as opposed to going and planning your own and all of that.
Yeah.
So what we did, and so people, again, if the 3-hour slot isn't long enough for people, so we ended up getting married down in the Crossroads. That's our romp around area. We love it down there. So we
Right.
got married at a fair. In
Oh,
their
at a
courtyard.
fair?
Oh yeah.
Those people
So,
love a fair.
yeah,
I still have
there's-
not been there yet.
Oh, it's wonderful, and the people there are just so hospitable. Like it ended up being great. If this option of a pop-up would have been available when we were planning, we probably would have gone that route.
Right.
But again, we did have a wonderful wedding. So we got married in the courthouse there. It was just like parents and siblings. That's it. Because
Yeah.
if we went any further, it would have turned into 75 people, and then 100, and then 500, and
Right.
we would have gone bankrupt and had to sell our house and be living under a bridge somewhere. So we got married at a fair. We did brunch there on a Sunday. So you remember you talked about cost, like time of year.
Yeah.
We were in the point where we were going to have to do a Thursday or a Sunday because we could not afford a Friday or a Saturday wedding. Like it wasn't.
Yeah.
We wanted to use the extra, the extra money from a Thursday or Sunday wedding to put towards our family, kind of spoil them a little bit more, and then spoil ourselves on our honeymoon.
Yeah.
So we were looking at Thursday and Sundays, and we ended up changing again. We went through like 8 different changes of what we're going to do. So when we settled on a fair, we chose brunch on Sunday because we had already
okay.
decided on Sunday at that point.
Yeah.
And then we romped around the Crossroads. That's what my family knows. So we went to Tapcade. We took the kids there because we go there all the time.
Perfect.
Then we went to Ruins Pub, and that's where we invited kind of our core group of friends to come. And they came out, they celebrated, we bought some appetizers, and then we all drank. And then we ended up at Anton's later. We basically just hung out in the Crossroads all day.
Were you wearing your wedding
I
dress all
did,
the
and I
time?
loved it. It was
That's
so much
awesome.
fun. I
That's
never
awesome.
thought that I would be that person, but I still
yeah.
was. And everybody was looking at me, and I was like, oh, hi, yeah, I just got married.
Yeah. No. When we were taking photos before the wedding, like we went all around like the Kemper and like we went to Up Down, like we went all
Yeah.
around, and so Maria and I were just walking around like in our diets, like
I know.
taking photos.
It
like,
kinda
hey,
feels great,
we're
doesn't
getting
it?
married today. It's pretty exciting. So,
Yeah, so there's different options.
Yeah.
And so that was something that was really important to us. We only had a few main things that we needed. We wanted to get married in front of our, closest loved ones. We, at some point, wanted to have our friends. So trying to figure out how we were going to do all of it, it was a challenge. I mean, it took us several months to figure out exactly how we wanted to do it. And then we wanted a good photographer. Those were really like all we needed. At the end of the day, it was a whole day event. We hopped on a plane the next day for Oregon, and it was great. But honestly, it's still kind of a blur.
Yeah.
People put in so much time and money into something that in a blink of an eye is gone.
yes, I 100% agree with that.
Or, I mean, like even my sister, my oldest sister, when she got married, she even jokes about how like she doesn't even think she ate. I hear that all the time. Nobody ate. I didn't even try my own wedding cake. Like you hear stories like that because people are so busy entertaining the guests that are there, which is great. But at the end of the day, it's probably one of the most important days of your life. So, being able to kind of focus on yourself and your closest loved ones isn't always such a bad idea.
Did you think that this would be the path that you're going to take to try to launch this?
Absolutely not. No, I've always been an entrepreneur and I've been in hospitality forever.
Yeah.
It wasn't until the past 5 years of my friends and family were kind of all the age where we all, started looking into weddings and getting, we all ran into the same dilemma. We all wanted something small and we couldn't find what we wanted out there. And then here we are.
There you are.
Yeah.
Well, this is Just Say I Do. Very exciting. Here's what we're going to do. We are going to take a quick break.
Okay.
We will come back. You want to take the Casey quiz when we
Yes,
come back?
I'm so excited about
Okay,
this.
all right. So we will be right back here on the Kansas City Podcast. Hey everyone, hope you're doing well. Thanks for tuning into the Kansas City podcast. Lots of crazy stuff going on right now. I hope that your summer is getting started and it's getting exciting and you're doing things and you're going outside and you're enjoying the crazy Kansas City weather. Mark your calendars. Very important. Friday, June 8th. The air guitar... what is this? It would be like the qualifier. The Kansas City qualifier is taking place on Friday, June 8th at the Record Bar. And I only say this for one reason. And it's not like, they're not coming to me saying, Cole, you should advertise with, with us. No, I'll be fully honest. I'm telling you this because there is a high possibility, a very high probability that there will be a contestant competing in that air guitar competition that you know quite well, that you may be hearing his voice right now, and he may want you to come out and support him on Friday, June 8th. Mark your calendars. Mean Moline, if you remember our Mean Moline episode, he may have worked some magic. No, not worked some magic. He may have, he got into my head, maybe. Yeah, he got into my brain. And, so yeah, we'll see what happens. Thanks for listening to today's show. All right, here we go. Back to it with Kate and the KC quiz. Welcome back to the Kansas City podcast. Cole Limburg here with Kate Morris from Just Say I Do KC. During the break, I gave her a lot of really great ideas, about things that could happen during the wedding. Like they could have an option where like someone, says, no, this can't go on. And then like a body slam through a table happens, like all these little add-ons and additions. I think you could have a mariachi band add-on. Like, right. You could really like a clown add-on. I mean... You can take these ideas and run with endless. Them. Yes, they are endless, yes. And I have plenty of ideas for you. You could have a space invader thing happen, like an alien, like... You know what would be kind of fun, though? No, is to do, like, an actual full-themed pop-up. Yeah. Like, say we... And I think this is, like, it really has happened, where they do weddings at the haunted houses. Oh, wow. So what about a pop-up at the haunted houses? At the Beast? Yeah, at the Beast. We got married. Let's go down the slide. That's the big send-off. That's the big send-off. See you later. We don't throw rice. We push you down you're going to the edge of hell, folks. And then you get like chased with a chainsaw. That's right. We just got married. Chainsaw guy. Hey, Kate, do you want to take the KC quiz? I do. I'm so excited. All right, Kate, you know how this works. I'm going to ask you Kansas City-related questions, sort of. You will be rewarded points. If I ask a question and you don't like the question, you can always say, stupid question. Remember, folks, you can tweet us at Kansas City Pod if you would like your question added to the KC quiz. Here we go. It's the one we always start with. You're prepared. Ready? Ready. Your favorite restaurant that is not barbecue. I'm ready. What do you got? So it's actually, it's how do you pick? Especially somebody who's such a foodie, and I love it all. Kansas City. You can pick multiple. Kansas City is the best for food, right? Right. I mean, really. There's everything. There is everything, but Louis here is actually one of my favorites. Where we're at right now? Where we're at. So, and the reason why, it's because of the wine board I was telling you about earlier. Okay, yeah. I'm a huge wine fan. Like, I probably drink way too much of it. I was looking at so we're sitting down kind of in the back corner of Louis here, and it's still earlier, so it's not a full crowd in here. But yes, I've been looking at the wine board the entire time. Yeah. Can you explain the wine board exactly? Yeah, so what it is that they put different wines on the board, but then the other cool part about it is so you don't have to commit to full bottles. So say I picked out a bottle on the wine list that's only available by the bottle. They're still going to open it. I just have to commit to 2 glasses. And then the rest of that bottle goes on the wine board.
So then,
Oh.
say you also loved wine and you then came in after me and was like, oh yeah, well, hey, that wine's up there now. Now I get to try this really expensive wine that I would never pay $200 for, but I can get a glass of it.
Oh, see, okay, that's a great concept. That's
Yeah,
really cool.
I know. And
So-
I like unique concepts and neat things like that. So
Okay, I'm looking up there now. They have a Scarpetta. Wine is so weird to me. Every time I drink a glass of wine, it always tastes like a wooden barrel. I'm just like, I feel like this is
every wine, just like that.
like
huh?
it just
like that.
it's got that like woodsy kind of like, is this a wood chip from a playground? Like, I don't know what it is. Me and wine, like, I'm fine with wine, don't get me wrong, but like I always get, it doesn't matter what it is. My taste, my palate is not like good enough to like say, I smell some, or I taste the cinnamon and the grapes, and I'm just like,
It's
nope,
a full-bodied.
This tastes just like a wooden barrel to me. Like, it's got that
Yeah.
in there. Okay.
So I love it here. I mean, there's anywhere in the Crossroads. That's our runaround area, so I love the Crossroads. So lots of them down there.
Where do you stand on barbecue? What's your favorite barbecue?
Okay, so
Oh boy.
I know.
You just made a face of like, this is gonna be a tough one.
It is a tough one because Kansas City has so many great options.
Yes.
So I actually love Jack Stack. So Jack Stack's one of my favorites, but I frequent more at like Gates, and I think it's because there was one down the street from us. Like, so we ordered it all the time growing up, and
Yeah.
so it's like my childhood in
What's
barbecue.
your go-to at Jack Stack?
At Jack Stack?
Yeah.
Well, I love the burn-ins, but the giant ribs, like the giant ones, I forgot the name of them right now.
Yeah.
The ones that are like the size of your head.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Those are really good. And then their salmon. I know who goes to get salmon at a barbecue place, but it really is the best.
Okay. All right. So I got a couple new questions here on the quiz that were added a couple weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
Kate Hogan, who was on the show, she basically helped me add this question to the Casey quiz. So, what's your favorite Casey smell? Do you have
Casey smell?
Yes. Is that like? Is there
Oh,
something in
wow.
your mind? Well, you're a foodie, so maybe it could be a smell of food, or I don't know. You got a
Well-
favorite Casey smell?
It's probably some weird combo of beer, barbecue, and beer, barbecue, and air.
Brilliant combination. All right, you got to pick one. Worlds of Fun, the zoo, or Schlitterbahn? Where are you going?
Oh, Worlds of Fun.
Worlds of
So,
Fun?
I have 2 kids.
What's your favorite ride at Worlds of Fun?
All the roller coasters.
Okay.
Look, my kids are older enough, 16 and 12, so we go there. I mean, oh my gosh, one time I had to ride the spinning dragons like 8 times in a row.
Yeah.
There was no line.
Okay.
The kids literally, you jump off, you run around, and you get back on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like a million times in a row.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Favorite local event? Do you have a favorite local event every year?
First Fridays.
Okay.
Go there all the time. Love that. There's again so many. It's just the great thing about Kansas City.
Always
I love
something.
First Fridays though. That one's always a winner. It's consistent.
Where's Waldo?
Where's all? Look right over there. Do you see him?
No, I don't. Is he wearing red and white? Let's see here. Your favorite place to hang out? You got a favorite local hangout you like going to? You said Crossroads. Is there a spot in the Crossroads?
We go to the Crossroads, and honestly, we've been so busy, we haven't been there in forever. But we used to try to get go there as much as possible. There is Swordfish Tom's. It's the new speakeasy. Have you been there?
I've not been there yet. I've heard of it.
Fantastic place. The people that I forget where they originated from, and then they brought this like their second speakeasy that they opened up.
Yeah.
Fantastic place. The people are great. The drinks are great. It's such a small, quaint place. I just love it.
Very nice. Dog or cat?
Well, I have 2 of each.
Really?
Yep.
You have 2 of each. How do they get along?
No. Yeah. They all get along all right. We actually just added to our family. We have a 6-month-old husky.
Okay.
Now I have a small Papillon who's going to be 14 soon.
Okay.
So I went from the small toy dog who just yapped to
Yeah.
a husky that has been more work than my family, 2 cats, 2 dogs, everybody combined.
You made quite the addition.
So and then we have 2
Yeah.
rescued cats that we love. So
Very nice. What is one thing in town that everybody should try once? It's the one thing that this is a tough one because like I always look at this question two ways. Like if I was talking to you, I would tell you're someone that lives here, and I would say you got to go do this. But if I had a friend coming here from out of town, I'd say, oh, you got to go do this. All right. So what's the one thing everybody should try once?
Well, I was going to say staycation, but that doesn't count.
I mean, that could count. Where would you go on a staycation, though?
Well, I know. There's, what's it called? Crazy Dash or something. Okay, so I think there's different ones out here now in Kansas City. It's that app or whatever that you buy, and it takes you to all the different areas. I'm sorry, I'm doing a horrible job of explaining this right now.
What?
Okay, so we did a staycation with the kids a few years back.
Yeah.
I wish I could remember the name of this thing we did. I think it was called Crazy Dash.
Okay.
And there's different ones all over the U.S., but you can like sign up for a particular city. And then it sends you on like a scavenger hunt, and you take pictures at these different locations. Like it'll give you little hints, clues. You go find that landmark or wherever you're supposed to be at, and then you take a funny picture. It'll give you options. There's one in Kansas City, if it's still here. This was a few years ago.
Yeah.
It was so much fun. We had a blast, and it took me to places that I had never been before, even running around Kansas City for all these years.
I've never heard of this in my life.
So much fun. I think it's Crazy Dash. You should look it up.
Crazy Dash. I am going to look that up. That's something I can get behind. That's fun. Like go around, see cool stuff you haven't seen before. Very nice. Let's see here. How do you feel about the streetcar?
Okay. I love the streetcar.
Okay.
So, I love it, but I don't like to park on the street where the streetcar runs because it's a little scary. Like that makes me a little nervous. I'm always like, am I far enough over? Okay, I know it says I'm kind of behind this line.
Right.
But are they still going to hit my mirror? Like, can I get out? So, or traffic. Like, whenever you see it coming up behind you when you're driving, it can be a little terrifying.
Gotcha.
But as far as its actual purpose, it's great. So, like, I think about the farmer's market. Going down like to Saturdays, on the farmer's market, it's crazy busy parking. So what we've learned to do is you park somewhere along the streetcar line, up further in the city, say like in the crossroads, and then you hop on the streetcar, take that down. Streetcar's still just as crazy packed, but you're not having to fight the traffic.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
You're walking on a sidewalk. You see a snake.
Oh no.
What do you do?
Scream. Run the other way. I don't know. If I have a baseball bat for some random reason, I might just do with it. I'm terrified of snakes. Terrified.
All right, it's your turn. You can now ask me a question. What question do you have for me?
What's the craziest question somebody's ever wanted you to ask?
Like on the show or in life?
On the Kansas City quiz.
Well, this is technically, you are only the second person that's ever gotten this question.
What?
Because this was a new
really?
question.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
I added this question when Kate was on the show, and that's when she asked me what my favorite KC smell was. And so that's why I was like, I'm going to add that to the quiz. That's really good. So, the answer to your question is, it's the smell question because that's the only one I've got. Do you have another question for me?
Let me actually think of an actual question.
Yeah.
Okay, so what is, gosh, I don't know. I can't beat. What's your favorite smell?
Why not? Well, you don't have to be. It could be anything. If you've noticed anything about the Casey quiz, it goes in many different avenues. It's not just always the same thing.
Okay, so... Well, I just want to know what your favorite brewery is. And the reason why is because there's so many great craft breweries or distilleries that have popped up in 5 years. It's incredible. Yeah. So I'm just curious.
So I obviously, I always go back to the staples of like the Boulevard and things like that. But I am in love with Colony in North Kansas City because they brew their own beer. It's in very small batches. So it's like for very small, limited time. They had, a while back, they had a beer, it was Fruit Loops inspired. And it was called it wasn't called Fruity Pebbles, but it was something like along those lines, and it was absolutely delicious. I was a huge fan of it. So Colony, the Rhino in North Kansas City, that's one of my favorites. I spend a lot of time in North Kansas City, so like Cinder Block, things like that.
I like
Cinder Block's great. But right now Colony is like at the top of my list, just because it's one of those things like you go in there, you don't know exactly which one's going to be there because they're done in such small batches. It may only last a couple days or whatever, so it's always kind of a new thing. They have 3 or 4 rotating, and I'm always I'm
That's
really
awesome.
like, what about you?
As far as breweries?
Yeah.
So I like a lot of of course, Boulevard is a classic one, but Torn Label is one that I'm starting to become a real fan of. Crane Brewing, I love. So I was never into sours before. And
I'm not into sours. I can't do it.
Yeah, and I didn't think I was until I actually started going there, and then we would start trying more and more, and I really started to develop kind of a liking to them, and it surprised me. And there's a wide range of sours. Like I mean, and I don't know enough about it to be able to the details, but I know that I've tried such a spectrum of them that they've grown on me.
Okay.
And I mean, I'm like a stout, dark beer drinker, so never in a million years would have thought I would like sours.
A little over, or it would have been coming on a year or so, we did the Taps and Tastes at Boulevardia, and so I was with a buddy of mine, and we had like cool VIP access. It was so sweet. So anyway, Grant, get that. So we went and did the Taps and Tastes stuff, and I was never like a huge sour guy, but I was like, okay, I'll try a couple of these along the way, because you're trying like 50 different beers, in a row. And I went to have a drink of one of the sours, and I was like, I started to take a sip, and I felt really bad because I took it in front of the people that were brewing it, that like they were there in front of their tent, and I like took a sip, and then I started to go, and I like kind of put the glass down, and I kind of like turned my head, and I was just like, I was already kind of a little tipsy anyway, but like some of it started to spill out of my mouth, and I was like, maybe I should stay away from the sours.
Well, keep trying.
I will. Who let the dogs out?
Who let the dogs out?
Yeah.
Who?
All right, here we go. It's your final question. Are you ready for the Google challenge?
I'm ready for the Google challenge.
All right, you know how this works. I went on Google, I went online, and I typed in a word and or phrase, and you need to finish the autocomplete.
Right.
Okay. So I think you probably already know what I typed in. Let's see if you did your homework here. I typed in weddings are blank. So what was the final word here on the Google challenge? Weddings are
stressful.
Stressful. Okay. All right. It is an S word.
Weddings are stupid question. No, I'm just kidding. That doesn't work for this one, does it?
No, either way, yes. It is a stupid question. I agree.
No.
It's actually, I'm going to show it to you here. It's weddings are selfish.
Ooh.
Yes. How do you feel about that? I was very surprised.
You know what, though? That's an interesting take on it.
It is. Well, and it's the number one thing on Google if you type in weddings
crazy.
are. Huh.
That's very interesting.
The second one is too expensive, and then the last one is weddings are self-indulgent.
Interesting,
so,
which kind of goes that's
with
interesting.
With the selfish
or
whatever.
The take that I have on that, which is almost the opposite, but people get so wrapped up in thinking it's actually about them, right? And so, well, I mean, from a guest perspective, right?
Okay, right.
So because I don't know, that's so interesting because you have different views on it. Like people either think that you have to mold or follow their mold, kind of that traditional route,
right.
So someone might think it's selfish if they're like, no, I'm not gonna do that. Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just know that they can be very, there's a lot of fighting sometimes.
I don't think weddings are
stuff.
selfish. I don't. But then again, I'm thinking of my wedding, and I felt like it was such a fun time for everybody, and all of our family and friends were together and stuff. I mean, it was a celebration. It was
that's what it should be.
That's what it should be.
That's really interesting.
I'm worried that that's like the number one search on Google. Weddings are or that's what pops up.
Right.
I don't know.
I don't know either. That's very interesting, though.
Let me tally up your points here. You did really well today. Let's see here. 5, 7, 20. You're at 44 points.
Wow.
Fantastic.
Thanks.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I feel good about that.
Kate, thank you so much for
Thank you so much for having
the
me.
Casey quiz. All right. We're nearing the end of our time today.
Okay.
I'm going to give you the floor. This is your time to shine. I want you to tell people where they can find you, find information about Just Say I Do, information about pop-up weddings, all that type of stuff. the floor. I am now giving you the floor. It is yours. Go ahead, Kate.
All right, thank you. So if you are looking for an intimate wedding or a vow renewal, you can check out justsayidokc.com or email me, Kate, at info@justsayidokc.com. I'm sorry, justsayidokc.com. And we'll go from there. That's all I got.
Very nice. Remember, folks, you can always find me on Twitter at Cole Limburg. Check out our website, thekansacitypodcast.com. We will have a link to Just Say I Do, along with their Facebook page and things like that. You can always find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at Kansas City Pod. All right, you got any final words of wisdom before we leave today?
Just thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. A lot of fun.
Well, that's what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be fun, and I'm excited to see where this goes. And, who knows? Maybe, a year from now, you'll be doing a wedding every weekend, at some new place, and you will have grown to some huge... I don't know, like you're doing 150 people weddings,
Well, we just want to be that unique service that's out there for couples who don't want any stress and who are on a lower budget.
It is certainly unique, and I think that you've got probably some people out there that are definitely going to bite at it, because if I had to go back in time and I had to think about, okay, how I want to do my wedding, I don't think I would change a thing on how I did it, but if I was in a different circumstance, I think that maybe I would have been like, yeah, that's the way to go. That's the way to go. Kate, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you.
We'll see everybody next time here on the Kansas City Podcast.